guys? Mr. Free Coiner coming back to you again today. Hope you guys are doing well and taking care of yourselves. All right, so this is July 2nd, 2025. It's Wednesday, and things are looking good. Like I mentioned, we would probably see, some upside, but as we have today, in the last hour, things are kind of cooling down a little bit. But the 24-hour is looking pretty good. ETH is up 7%, XRP is up almost 4%, Bitcoin's up. Everything's looking pretty good, I would definitely say. What we're heading into next week is going to be, I believe, going to be a whole lot better. Now, will it happen Monday? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But like I said, it definitely is going to get a lot crazier sometime after the holiday. Either way, it's already looking positive. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm hearing just in the interwebs. A lot of people are kind of weighing in on, especially like XRP price and whatnot. So who knows? Again, I kind of want to go make sure I'm clear with you guys on what I think is probably going to happen. One, I think we're going to start pumping after the holiday, which I already said. Two, I think this initial pump is going to be pretty much retail driven, all right? Which is very likely to get us somewhere over $20. It's hard to really say. It just really kind of depends on how much money actually comes into the market. And it depends on how many people are able to, spend the extra money. I know the inflation has really kind of hurt people, but I think a lot of folks want to make money. I was talking to a bank teller today. I had to go into the bank today, and she actually, I mentioned something about crypto, and she kind of laughed, I think. I asked her, I was like, are you into crypto? She was like, yeah, I got a little XRP. I was like, what? You got XRP? So anyway, it's people are finding out about it, but still we're very, very early. Just wait. Because I think this, the retail plus the institutional pump, because you got to remember the institutional stuff is still going to be due to retail because people are getting into these, what they consider more safe avenues like ETFs and whatnot. I don't know, a lot of institution businesses are going to be using, getting into it with the ETFs, but still, it's coming. Either way, it's coming from money that's provided by people like us. So directly, I think it can only get us to a certain point, maybe, like I said, but somewhere above $20. But when the institutional stuff really happens, now, will it happen by the end of the year? I don't know. Do I think there is going to be a second pump that will pretty much be strictly like institutional? I think it's possible. I kind of have a feeling that we're not going to see the same behavior of the market like we've been seeing. Everything changes. Okay, the only thing that is constant, right? The only constant is change. So we can definitely expect the crypto market to change its behavior. When that might happen, I have no idea. It could be, this year, it could be next year, it could be the next cycle. Who knows? But it is going to change. And as I mentioned before, I don't plan on sitting by thinking, oh man, I sold, 99% of my XRP and it just hit $2,500. That's a reason why I invested the way I did. I got a nice part of my money in XRP, and the other half of that I have it in other things that I think are gonna really pump And those things I feel safer sacrificing those to the selling. Okay, so that's just the way I'm looking at it. I know a lot of folks are pretty much just in XRP, and I used to be that way. But like I said, I think diversifying is probably the safest way to proceed. But of course, these are just my opinions. Please do not make any decisions based on what I'm saying. I'm just sharing what I'm thinking. I'm not a financial advisor. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. And I found this pretty interesting. It says, just in, from the Bitcoin historian, just in, over 8% of President Donald Trump's net worth is now invested in Bitcoin and crypto. Actually, at first I thought it said 80%. I was like, God dang, that would be crazy. But still, 8% of DJT's net worth probably is more than several of us put together, right? So who knows? I mean, 8%. I mean, I don't know if he was a billionaire, but or if he is a billionaire, or whatever the case is. But I mean, think about that, 8%. I know that has to be, more than like 10 Bitcoin. So yeah, he's invested. He is definitely pro crypto, and I'll be honest with you. I'm sure whatever he can do, he will make the crypto market pump, right? So because he has vested interest in it. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, this actually happened yesterday, but if you haven't seen it, the SEC approved Grayscale's ETF that includes Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, XRP, ADA. Now, guys, me personally, I have all of these, okay? And I think this is definitely a group that you pretty much can't go wrong with. If this is all you have and you're weighted in all of these, I think you're going to do well. Now, the only one that I wouldn't put so much into, just because there's, it's already pretty much wrung out, is, Bitcoin. As far as at my financial level, right? You put $10,000 in Bitcoin, it would have to go to $200,000 to make anything significant, right? ETH, a little bit better. If you have a couple ETH, I think it's going to get to somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000. That'll be a nice profit. Sol, definitely. I've heard some people saying that Sol could get, if I'm not mistaken. Where is Sol? You know what? Before I speak, I want to make sure I'm speaking about the right thing, because I want to. Maybe I'm thinking about. I think I'm thinking about the Sui. Yeah. So Sol, I've heard people say that Solana could get to $1,000. That's from here. That's almost a 10x. That's a good profit. However, the other two, the last two, or rather the last two, XRP, ADA, probably a much better ROI, especially ADA, because ADA is still somewhere around 50 cents. Let's see where ADA is. 59 cents, and it's pumped quite a bit if you were buying around here. I bought ADA. I've had mine for quite a while, but yeah, still, I think ADA is going to get, maybe $8 to $10. That's a great profit. That's like a 20x from here. So yeah, I think XRP, ADA, Flare. Don't forget about Flare. I've mentioned that many times. Oh, I'm going too far here. Flare is definitely also, because it's a penny, and if Flare just gets to like a couple dollars, it's going to be crazy. All right, so let's go on. I don't know, belabor the point. Ripple's new stablecoin deal with OpenPaid could send XRP soaring. Oh man, sewing. My mother used to sew. Anyway, soaring. Yeah. So, Ripple, I mean, constantly getting these or doing these deals. I mean, it just is more adoption, especially the ETF. And we're going to see more ETFs coming on board, coming into into reality. And it's just, look, it's just more adoption. It's going to absolutely go crazy. But these things still are not going to spell $1,000 XRP. That's going to come with the stock market. It's going to come with, tokenization, settlement. Like I said, in the stock market, derivatives. I mean, as I keep mentioning, there are things going on in the background that we know nothing about. It's not being announced yet, and it will be. You got to think about that. We never know what's going to happen next. And again, I'm not saying that XRP is going to go to $1,000 right now, this pump or whatever. I think it is very possible. So I am preparing for, for that to happen. That event right there would absolutely, if you, as I mentioned, if you have 10,000 Bitcoin, damn, why am I saying Bitcoin? If you have 10,000 XRP, you are richer than, you're in the 1%, or at the very least, you're in the 1.5%, right? Just with 10,000 XRP. So it's something to think about. It's something to consider, making sure you're preparing for what could happen. And it could be another 10 years, could be another 15 years. But if you can get away with keeping, at least, depending on what you have, you do what you can. I know not everyone is, can even have 1,000 XRP right now. So I would just say, just make the provisions that fit best within your capability financially. It's just something to consider, think about. All right, last one, and you just saw that. Ripple applies for federal bank trust charter. XRP jumps 3%. So Ripple is going to be, or at least it looks like they're going to be trying to become a bank. Imagine that, right? That would be absolutely crazy. I'm not saying it's, whether it's good or bad, because I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories about all of this. I personally have my reservations on some things, but all in all, Ripple. If Ripple, sorry, if there was a Ripple bank, I think I might be joining it. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but if it was offered, I would probably go ahead and open an account. Just saying. That's just me. But all in all, guys, so much to just be excited about. It's just going crazy, and all the things that we have been talking about over these last 7-8 years, it's all coming to fruition. It's all, and I bet anything over the next few months, more stuff that we would never even think could happen. Those things are going to begin to be released, announced. I think we're in for quite a ride especially over these next 3 years, right? It's just I'm really interested to see how the market is going to proceed. Are we going to have the same like cycles that we've had? A lot of people think that. I know Blockchain Backer thinks that, nothing's going to change. Everything's been acting the way it always has. And, so we're probably going to get, the same reactions, right? But will it always stay like that? Is all of this activity that's happening, will that change anything? Will we have another prolonged bear market like we've had, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think it's wise to prepare yourself as if things are going to continue. But like I mentioned earlier, the only constant in this world is change. You can always bet things are going to change. At one point, I'm sure the stock market was definitely not the way it is now. Now the stock market is very stable, and you only get a lot of, similar activity like the crypto market in the stock market when it happens when you get something like a Tesla, but it takes years for it to actually go anywhere, just like crypto, right? So who knows? We'll just have to keep our eyes on it, and like I said, prepare accordingly. Prepare as if both scenarios will play out, if you can do that, right? So yeah, that's really it. Exciting times, guys. Very exciting times, and I tell you, I am ready for it. All right, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button as well as the like button and the post notification button, guys. Until next time, this has been Mr. Freecoiner. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.